Hello, everyone, and welcome to another amazing episode of Meet the Author. This one is unique, just like all the rest we have here at Wildly Free. Today, we have the privilege of talking to Evelyn, who wrote an amazing book called The Mystery of Half Moon Bluff. And this project was a little different because though we didn't publish the book, we did a revamp of all of it with new cover, new back cover. James spent about a year diving in and just bringing it more to life. So welcome, Evelyn. It's so nice to have you today.
Thank you.
All right, let's dive into who you are and how this all started. So, can you tell us a little bit about your background and what made you decide you wanted to write children's books? Because I know that this isn't the only one.
That is true. It's not the only one. And what made me to decide that I wanted to write children's books? Well, I think a lot of it stemmed from the fact that I retired from education. I've been in it for almost 50 years. And suddenly I was just me and my husband and two dogs. And I thought, well, now what am I going to do? And I come from a line of women who wrote poetry. Well, that kind of stopped with me. I'm not a poet by any means. So I thought, well, who could I reach that might be interested in what I have to write? And that's when I thought of children. Now, don't confuse this with what I did as an educator. I did not teach little children. I actually taught adults and worked with adults. So it's, quite a difference there. But it took me back to my childhood, and I found that I really enjoyed doing it, especially since I have so many grandchildren and great grandchildren that I could write books about them.
I love how you took each grandchild, each child, each great grandchild, and they are the characters of all of your books. Specifically for this one, can you tell us a little bit about what inspired you for the characters of this one?
Well, the characters in the current book, the one that we're talking about, are three sisters. They are my great granddaughters. The oldest, Ray, is in this book, she's 16. And then Aria is the middle child, and she's 10. And then there's Remi, who is 5 years old in this book. And she's a little stinker. But I know, I've been with them ever since they were each born, and I've been very close to them. So I know their personalities, and I know that what I wrote in this book is something that they would be able to do. They would welcome it. They would love to come upon a mystery, even bones in a cave. They would think that that was exciting, and they would really get in the middle of it and, just work it as hard as they could.
I love that so much. And I want to point out that, within the Wildly Free community, we're all about word of mouth. We're all about making connections. And you were connected to us through the amazing, beautiful Erin, who is actually an author in Rising Relentlessly, one of the books that we actually just released, best-selling in the collection that book is in. And we're just so grateful that you trusted us to connect and kind of hand over your project, your baby, and let us kind of bring it alive more so. And I know that James, our executive editor, our publisher, he was the one that was in it with you from the very beginning to the very end. You guys are getting the test copies now. And so I would just love to hand it over to him to ask you some of the questions because he's been in it with you all of this time. So James, you want to go ahead and dive into this amazing project?
Yeah, thanks, Rachelle. Evelyn, it was a real pleasure working with you, and I thoroughly enjoyed reading the book. And it's such an interesting mix of mystery and history, right? So you've got this blend, and I'd love to know where did you come up with the original idea for this story?
The original idea came to me when I was actually visiting one of the spots that is critical to the book, and that would be the Half Moon Bluff, which is on the east coast of Florida. I live in Florida, as do my three great granddaughters. And I was just standing around on that bluff looking out at the ocean and thinking, boy, this is really a great place to come up with a mystery. It's got to be a mystery around here somewhere.
Right.
And I love mysteries, absolutely. And I love history. So the Nancy Drew part of me I've never outgrown Nancy Drew. And I just gravitated to my three little granddaughters because I was visiting them at the same time. And I thought, gee, I can put a book together about the three of them. And I did it also because I want to leave a legacy.
Yes.
It's very important to me that I leave this for all of my children and all that come after.
When Ray, Aria, and Remi pick up the book today, right? Because they're older than they were in the book. What
Yes,
what characteristics of themselves do you hope they see in the book?
I hope, I think they'll see how it's really them. I just, Ray naturally is the leader, not just because she's older, but just she's adventuresome, has all kinds of crazy ideas, and she's very artistic. And then Aria is our spiritual child. She senses things in other people. She just has that sixth sense about her, and that fed right into the book perfectly. And I think earlier I referred to Remi as a little stinker. Well, she's an instigator. She's adventuresome. She absolutely gets in the middle of things, and she wants people to know she's there. So I had, I couldn't have had three characters that would have been any better. It's truly who they are. It's shown in the book. It's who they are.
That's fantastic. I was thinking about the early days of reading your original draft, and I believe it's Arya, if I remember right, or it might be Rumi, that doesn't speak you and doesn't use contractions. Doesn't say I'm, says I am. Doesn't say didn't, says did not. And I remember being the editor reading through that. It's like it made the conversation feel a little stilted kind of as I was reading it. And when I came to you and mentioned that, you're like, but that's her. That's her. That's the way she communicates. And one of the things we do at Wildly Free, and we talk about this, and I spoke about it with you, is like it's your voice, it's their voice. We want it to be them. We want them to be able to recognize themselves in the story. And we even spoke because there's a little bit of a ghost story, right? And so we
Right.
spoke about how Arya is spiritual and how that showed up and how you brought that into the book. And it was so unique because I felt like I got to know your granddaughters through reading their story in the book. And even though it's fiction, it's like that knowing that it's like these are your grandkids that you're writing about. And I think that's so unique because I know it shows up in your other children's books too, of how you're always writing. Not only are you writing for your readers, but you're also, I think, writing like your legacy. You're writing for your grandchildren. You're writing for your great grandchildren eventually. And I think that's so neat about you. Um, as we think about the book and how as it continues, it is a mystery. It's full of clues. How did you go about putting the clues together? How did you go about getting it to go from one step to the next to the next? What was that process like?
Well, it definitely wasn't step one, two, three, and four. Um, when I'm writing, I usually have a pad and a good ink pen, and as the thoughts come to me, I just write them down page after page after page. And in the margins, when something hits me that I could use later, I make a note of it and keep going.
Good.
And that's how those, I may have started in the middle with what clues I had. And then I'd have to go back and pull something that I was thinking about including in the book. Whatever place, whatever location I had, there was always going to be a clue, except in their home. So, and that actually they had anyway because of using their computers.
I was going to say there were clues when they were in the home and doing their own research. So I'm glad you included,
Right.
at the heart of the book, the sisters, they don't just solve a mystery, right? They help restore someone's story, and that's so important to us as Wildly Free. Why do you think that matters so much?
Well, I think that even though in this book they restored this person who had lived quite a long time ago, there was no way the girls could ever have known Tom.
Right.
Um, but it was clearly important to them because they are children with empathy. They always see what's right. It's very clear to them what is right, and in their mind, it was right for them to set things so that Tom could be at ease. He had been hanging around for quite a long time, waiting for someone to care enough about him
Mm.
to find out his history
Oh,
and to try to solve it so that he could be set free. Needed to have his soul set free. And those three girls did it through the clues that they came upon. And again, I didn't have them in any order. They just they just come to me. When it
Right.
hits me to write, James, I can sit and write for hours. And then I go to my computer, then I start typing it in or speaking. Uh, I talk to my computer and let it do the typing.
it's a great tool to have. Well,
Well,
you
It
just touched
is.
my heart. I have not had the opportunity to read the book, but in listening to James over the last year and now just how, you wrapped it into, honoring someone who may have not been honored. Uh, that just touches me, and I cannot wait to buy the book for my girls. We homeschool, and I'm just excited for them to be able to relate to your granddaughters in this book and also just go along with the mystery. So I'm really excited to be able to buy the book. So I encourage everybody, we're going to have all the information to purchase this book as well as her other books. All of these are self-published books through Evelyn, and we want to just let everybody know that this was just a very special project to us. From moving forward, we love to do all the publishing and everything like that, but this book just had a purpose. This book was a pioneer, and we're just so grateful for the relationship that we are building and got to build with you, Evelyn. And with that, how is your experience with working with James over the last year with Wildly Free and just him as an individual?
Well, I think that you and James are what makes Wildly Free free
Oh,
and wild, makes it wild as well. Um, One of these days I'll probably ask how you came up with that name. I like it. And I enjoyed working with James. Not one time did he ever make me feel like I wanted to beat my head on the desk.
yay.
Uh, and sometimes some people do make me want to do that. and or I have to hold my tongue. But he never did that to me, and that was quite astounding.
Yay.
But what I liked about it, I think most especially, is I could tell that he really cared, honestly cared, that I could bring this book to a different level than what it was when it was first published. And now it's where it should be. And I really think, we've built a great mousetrap.
I love that. What would you tell somebody who's sitting on the fence about trusting us to get their stories out into the world?
Oh, trust there has to be. Absolute, pure, simple. Trust is just, it's one of those short words in life, but it's one of those major words in life that we should all live up to. And as far as extremely trustworthy, extremely, uh, and I have had to deal with some real characters, believe me. So I like kind of the hominess too. I feel like I know you beyond this book. And I'm hoping we can put some more things together.
Uh,
It may not take a full year then.
no,
I have learned things, and I think that's wonderful. And you're never too old to learn.
you're never too old. Well, it was an absolute pleasure and honor being trusted with your story. And I'm so excited, at the very beginning, you gifted us, I believe, all of your books, and they have
Yes.
been such a joy to have on our bookshelf. And we love to collect books and be able to take them out and just reference them. And there's nothing like a physical book. I know a lot of people love all the audiobooks and all of that, and I love them too, but there's something super special. So I just encourage everybody to get your hands on Evelyn's books. And again, we're going to provide all the information so that you can connect with her, you can connect to her books, and they would make great gifts, great summer buy, great holiday buy. It's a really neat series, and as well as the book that we had a chance to do a re-edit of. So thank you so much, Evelyn. Is there anything else that you would like to share from your heart or speak to anybody? We would love to invite that before we close.
Well, from my heart, I put the most important beings in your hands. I am an only child,
Mm.
and God blessed me with children, grandchildren, and great grandchildren. And they mean the world to me, and anything that I would write about them um, means the world to me. And I appreciated the care and interest that was taken. And I think you all picked up very quickly about how I felt. I'm not expecting to be a millionaire from writing books. I want to do it, as I said earlier, as a legacy. And you guys picked up on that. And I think that's why we are where we are today.
I
Well,
love that. That was our alignment. That was our connection.
yeah.
Right.
And thank you so much for trusting us with your family.
Yes.
Thank you,
Mhm.
because that's huge. Talking about trust, talking about Ray, Aria, and Remi. Thank you for trusting us with who they are so that we could help you bring them to life like we did.
Yeah,
Yes.
you did.
Thank you. And for everybody listening, just watch out. I think Evelyn has a few more books up her sleeve, and we hope that we can continue to support her moving forward. So thank you so much for watching another episode of Meet the Author. We are so grateful to have Evelyn as a part of the Wildly Free family. And until next time, thank you so much for listening. Bye.